Ridiculous questions, meticulously debated. This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light is my fire passes away.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. This is Ryan, and I'll be moderating this week.
I'm Josh, and I'll be debating.
And I am Joe, and I will be the other debater.
Well, boys, it is officially spooky season, which means it is time for everybody's favorite holiday, Halloween.
Ding, 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 ding.
Although I have to say, before we start this Halloween-themed episode, I am not a fan.
Not a fan of Halloween?
It's a little controversial. I've never really been a fan.
You're wrong.
Why?
Now, don't get me
Do
wrong.
you just not like fun?
Don't get me wrong.
Candy?
I love the spooky season. I like the feeling that people get.
Is it too scary?
It's not that. It's really just that I was an actor in high school and stuff. I just don't really get like dressing up and trick or treating is fine, I guess, when you're a little kid. But like, I didn't really like Halloween parties or anything. Like, I just have never been a fan.
I think you're just a little bit scared. I really think that's what it is.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
Did you not have any friends?
No, I have lots of friends.
That sounds like something somebody with no friends would say.
That's true. Yeah. All my friends that live in Canada.
Look, if you're worried about things being too scary, I actually learned about something this week that might be good for you, Ryan. So, Erica, my girlfriend, she's been on this podcast, and our friend Mary taught me about something that is called spoopy season. Have you heard of this?
Spoopy? I have not.
Spoopy.
Well, we really need the pop filter for this one.
Yeah. So basically what it is, from my understanding, is it's things that are like taking the essence of spooky season, but then applying them to cute things. So
okay,
like,
see, I feel like
a dog wearing a ghost costume.
Okay.
Or like a cute little like jack-o'-lantern. Like, you know what I mean?
Hocus Pocus cookies.
Yeah, like it is you get a little sprinkle of spooky as a treat.
This is the lamest conversation I've ever heard.
But but it's mostly about the cute things of the season. So that might be more your speed, Ryan.
Yeah, I guess as the labeled sensitive boy, that's the way that I have to go.
Yeah. But I will say, I don't disagree with you on dressing up. It was never my favorite thing growing up at all. I dressed up until I was about 10, and then I just quit because I was over it.
I dressed up a lot as a kid. I mean, you know, your parents and stuff. Like, I think I went multiple times as a vampire because it was super easy. It was like you have a cape and you paint your face white and all that stuff.
And you saved money because you actually have fangs. I don't think our listeners know that. But you didn't have to buy fake fangs.
I do sort of have some big. Are those? Is it incisor? Is that what
I don't know. I'm not
one of those tooth words. But so I think I also dressed up a little bit in high school, but that was mainly just because like I was going to parties and stuff.
When I was young, I would dress up in the same two costumes every other year. One year I'd be the blue Power Ranger, and the next year I'd be Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Al Borland was not until college. And that was where I used.
We know we've seen
you
this.
Had 3 Halloween costumes.
No, the costume that stands out to me the most is I remember I won a costume contest in elementary school. The morning of, I told my mom, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to wear a costume today." So we made a costume up that morning, and I was Indiana Jones.
Yes, wow.
And I wore khakis and a button down, and my dad had like this. Not like a cowboy hat, like a floppy hat. I used one of my mom's like skinny belts, you know, like the women have like the braided belts, and then she painted a beard on me with eyeliner.
You didn't use coffee grounds?
No, I didn't use coffee grounds. I went as Indiana Jones, and we literally did the costume in about 20 minutes.
That's pretty impressive. I was gonna say, for me, I had a lot of, I hit the traditional ones that any millennial kid at that time would do. When I was a little kid, me and my cousin did Tom and Jerry. I did Ash and Brock from Pokemon.
Of course.
Bam Bam.
Sorry?
Bam Bam?
I did not do Bam Bam. But
I figured you'd be a shoo-in with that hair.
well, I do look a bit like Barney Rubble, so being his offspring would probably not be a bad thing.
Hey, boo boo. Oh, that's Yogi.
That's Yogi Bear. Totally different character.
Not even close. But I got what you were saying. The voice is actually more similar than you think. So I'll give it to you.
In my later years of Halloween, say 8 to 10, I got a little weird and wacky. Decided I'm gonna be different than everybody else, and so one year I went as a Lego. Now, when you hear people do a Lego costume, typically you think, "Oh, he was a Lego man." No, I decided I was gonna dress up as a traditional yellow Lego brick, and so we got a big cardboard box. We put a little some PVC pipe on there for the little pegs. We had a little hole slot where a bag was attached so you could stick candy in my costume.
Whoa, and, this seems really inappropriate.
That does seem a little dirty.
So in theory, great costume, but I also could not see worth a lick because I was just in a box and we didn't really think through. You
didn't have your head out the top of it?
No, I was just a brick.
Oh my gosh.
If I would have been around you, especially as an older kid, I would have literally, in today's society, I would have walked behind you with a Bluetooth speaker and just played Brick House on repeat as loud as I can.
Over. Either one
that
of those
would have been great
been
to push you over because you would not have been
able, been able to stop it.
Yeah, so that one was bad, but it was not my worst. My worst costume I ever wore was one year my mom asked me, "What do you want to be for Halloween?" And I said, "I want to be a basketball goal."
Oh, man.
Not a basketball player. I wanted to be a basketball goal. Kid. I'm still a weird kid, to be fair. So what we did was we got a Nerf basketball goal. We cut out a face. So we actually remembered to do that this time so I could see. Cut out a face, painted my face white to match the backboard, and then I wore all black sweatpants, like a black sweatsuit, so I could be the pole. And I walked around the neighborhood like that.
Did people dunk on your face?
They did not. Fortunately,
Ryan, people don't need to have Halloween to do that. They just do that normally.
No, my costume was so convincing. I just looked like a basketball goal on the side of the street for sure. But no, nobody dunked in my face, fortunately. But in retrospect, I deserved it.
Did a dog try to come and pee on your pole?
No, not that I recall. But also would have deserved it. Yeah.
So I actually just remembered a costume story that I have from college. Me and my roommates actually won a costume contest at CSF, Christian Student Fellowship, at University of Kentucky, because we went as Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Christopher Robin, and Eeyore. And so it was a little bit of a themed costume, almost like a couple's costume, but it was like a group costume.
Listen, I have no problem with group costumes.
This was, I'm not going to lie, it was actually a very well executed. We all put a lot of effort in. My best friend from college actually looks a little bit like Christopher Robin, and so he basically just dressed up as himself with some shorts and some high socks and a balloon, and we ended up winning, and I was Tigger, and so I had like this big orange sweatshirt, painted my face, had a pogo stick. That was my like little nuanced
did you break your leg
there? No, I did not use the pogo stick, just had it as like I'm bouncy, you know. But I was very proud of that costume. But I will have to say, at this party, there were so many terrible college couples costumes, and I think that's really what made me want to do this topic, because I feel like there are a lot of great group costumes, but I feel like there aren't that many good couples costumes.
Before we get to bad costumes, I've got one more good costume. In college, the same group of guys I went with every year would go. One year they went as a team from Guts.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Group costume.
And then one year they went as a team from Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yep.
Kind of the same thing, but also respected.
Yeah.
It was the same thing, but it was like, that's awesome. So They were the Blue Barracudas, and I always thought that was like the greatest group costume ever. And there was nothing to it. They wore like jeans and a t-shirt.
Absolutely, yeah. And you just need the gold helmet and the elbow pads.
And you can buy the t-shirts on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
In Guts, they bought bike helmets.
Nice.
And wore like elbow pads and all that. And I was like, I respect your ability to go,
it's
go
like
hard
just
at
like
it.
a few items you have to buy. That was another reason I always hated costumes was like, if you want to have a really good costume, you're going to spend like $150.
Yeah. Now, I would do the Global Guts one, but instead of going as a team, I would definitely want to be Mike O'Malley. But the actual person who was Mo, she needs to come with me as the other person in my couple's costume because I had a huge crush on her when I was like 5 years old. That British accent.
Hope Erica's not listening.
She'll be fine with it.
So last week, my parents were off on fall break. There's another costume store. We can cut this out if you want to. But my mom and dad went to Halloween Spirit store or whatever it is. And my mom sent us pictures of like 18 costumes for each person. She'd be like Joseph, and a picture would come through of a costume. Rachel. And it was like, I knew she was like just trying to be nice. I want to be like, how many costumes does this place have left? But she sent one. She goes, Katrina. And it was like a naughty nurse outfit.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
That's
My
your little sister.
is 20. And she sent her mom sent a picture. I don't think she knew what she was sending.
Man.
But I looked at it and I was like, oh boy.
Now, I do love the Spirit Halloween. I will say that because it fitting of spooky season, it does inhabit the soul of a store that is closed.
Oh, man.
And I love that about
yes.
it. There's one that just moved into the old Gap near my house.
Yes. My 2-year-old daughter loves those stores, and she goes up and hits the button to make the monsters roar. And then she goes, "Be quiet, monsters."
She just wants to be bossy.
She asks us daily to go to Home Depot so she can go see the monsters.
It sounds like she's on her way to a very spooky child.
We went to the orchard. She went to the haunted house 7 times.
Wow. All right. You've got a little spoopy kid.
Yeah, she's just like me.
So now I feel like we need to transition into our topic here, several minutes into our episode.
Why would we ever do that?
Oh, I mean, it's when we're at our best. But I think we need to define what it is that we're looking for, and that is the worst possible couple's costume. I feel like there are almost endless possibilities. I actually did a little bit of research even as the moderator this week because I needed some frame of reference for these couple's costumes. And what I found is you can literally make anything into a couple's costume. So I am very sorry that you two had to research this week because it could be literally anything.
I had no problem with it. As soon as we decided this is what was it, I knew exactly what costume I was choosing.
Oh, per usual, Joe decides his topic, his debating point immediately.
And mine is not so much an actual costume, but it's a theory. It's a statement. It's an idea. A terrible, terrible idea that no one cares about.
Are we going to open the can?
A theory.
I can go first. I want to talk about something that people do a lot nowadays because they think people care, but I'm going to be honest with you. They don't. My worst couple costume by far. This is like, if you all know what Speak Your Piece is down in Eastern Kentucky, that's when you can write into a local newspaper anonymously and just insult someone.
Welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong, Speak Your Piece edition.
This is Joe's Speak Your Piece. My worst couple costume is the male-female pregnancy announcement costume. Now, there's a couple iterations of this. The most famous is the man as the bread maker and the woman is the oven, and she's got the bun in the oven. I saw one where there was a man as an Italian chef, and she was a can of Prego. I also saw one where the woman was just pregnant and the man was dressed as a milkman. And I was like,
Yikes.
That's okay.
A little bit of a play on infidelity. That's always good.
If you walk into a Halloween party with me and you're dressed like this,
you mean
my personal goal?
Are you talking about somebody's dressed like this or me and you are dressed like this?
No,
I'm just trying to get it right in my head.
If a couple comes in, I'm going to avoid you all night because if you wear that costume, you're waiting for someone to ask you about it. And I immediately don't care about you or your children if you're dressed like that.
Wow.
I don't care. It's obvious you're pregnant. And if you're not obvious you're pregnant, you've probably told people too early.
I've never seen this kind of fire from Joe. I didn't think this would be the thing that set him off. Our resident father.
I also didn't really know this was a couple's costume echelon until I'm now Googling and looking at all
They're
of
everywhere.
these.
They're awful.
There are so many.
And there's like $130 for these. And I'm like, this is stupid. Just put a sign on there and said, I got her pregnant.
The 3-hole punch gym of couples costume.
It'd be really great. See, the best version of this is really if the man is like a broken condom and it's like, oops.
I saw one somewhere and it had something and it looked like literally like, oh, it was the plug and she was the outlet.
Yeah.
And
don't
in the
like that
video,
one.
she was reaching over and grabbing the prongs of the outlet and it looked like she was just giving the guy a tug or something. But
This episode is already graphic. I did not expect this to be a graphic episode.
I'll jump in here. I agree with Joe on pretty much this whole thing, minus some of the anger, and I do care about your children, because otherwise, I'd be a bad person, Joe. But I care about your child. We're friends. Me and her are friends. So,
babies are fun when they're
born,
alive. But I don't care about your in utero fetus. I can't talk to it. I can't hold it. I can't, goo goo gaga it.
You could hold it, but it's going to be real awkward for everybody involved.
No,
there.
I'm not holding it. I'm holding a belly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It'd be real awkward. That really
Beautiful baby belly.
That really ruined the
that's
party.
Weird.
So is there a specific iteration of this costume that you have chosen that is the worst?
The bun in the oven, the pastry chef in the oven is the worst. I've seen that in real life. It's just like, that is all that is, hey, look at me, I'm pregnant. Come ask me about it. And I hate it. It's the same thing with gender reveals. I hate it. Listen, I might go more into gender reveals later, but ladies, Halloween's approaching. Let me give you a little hint. Your man does not want to dress up with you. He will not tell you that.
That's true.
He will not tell you that because he's hoping to see you out of the costume later. But for the most part, he does not want to be in a costume with you.
Oh, man.
Now, as a dad, I will gladly dress up with my wife along with my daughter, however she asked. She's really into Scooby-Doo right now, so we are going as Scooby-Doo if we trick-or-treat. She wants me to be Fred. She wants to be Daphne, which is weird. She wants Rachel to be Velma, and we're going to dress Ari up like Scooby.
But no Shaggy?
I'm cool with that. We don't have another guy.
Well, that's a shame. I think Ryan's free that night if Ryan wants to dress up.
Absolutely not.
That's totally different. But if you're...
Like we said, like group costumes, there's something about the difference between a group costume and a couple costume.
That's also for a 2-year-old.
Exactly. And I mean, Halloween is for children. It's listen, I'm probably going to offend a lot of friends that I have because I have a lot of friends that are very into Halloween, but I really don't get it as adults.
Halloween to me is movies and candy.
Both good things.
Now, I have a kid now, so it means a lot more to me. But pre-Sloan, Halloween to me was watching Halloween movies and buying Halloween candy and then not handing it out to other people.
Now, I do have a question for you, Joe. Now, Sloan is 2 years old.
That is correct.
And so is this I guess this will be her third Halloween?
This is technically her third Halloween. She's gone as Snow White, Doggy, and now Daphne.
I have a
if
question.
We get to have Halloween.
Now, when she was Snow White in her first Halloween, did you all take her around to the houses and collect candy for your child that does not have teeth?
We took her. She did have teeth, first off. She was 8 months old, so she had a few teeth.
Would you allow your 8-month-old to eat a milk dud?
We took her to 2 streets only because we spent money on a costume at a Disney store and then went back home.
Oh man!
And we did not go out to the entire neighborhood and trick or treat because we knew we had a baby.
I mean, I'm not gonna j'accuse too much here, but what it sounds like is y'all did it for the gram.
Oh yeah,
No, we 100% did.
Did it for the gram and did it for a little bit of candy they could snack on later in the evening.
100% we did. I'm not even gonna lie. Listen, when you all, if you want and if you plan to have children. When you shell out the money that it costs to have a child, one night of candy is okay.
It's like, I pay this hospital bill for your birth. The least I can do is take you around the block for some dots.
And I don't know about you all. Do you all hand out candy now?
Well,
at your house?
No, I am a light off person. I'm going to enjoy my evening, and the kids can enjoy theirs outside away from me.
Well, we hand out candy.
Yeah, we probably will not. I mean, this is really. I guess we could have handed out candy last year. For some reason, we didn't. But this
Ryan
year,
gives me big handing out toothbrushes vibes.
Absolutely not. I'm not that person. No, we hand out. We would only be handing out good candy if we were doing it. But
Ryan, we may be coming by your house this year.
That might be our house. We will have candy for your child. But if I'm being honest, I don't really want to be handing out candy to kids in a pandemic. So I'll be a light off person.
Yeah. And plus here's the thing. Most people, they get excited about handing out candy, so excited, like my mother used to do, that she would buy the candy a month out and then just leave it in a bowl by the door, just in anticipation that some rogue trick-or-treater came by in the first 30 days of the month. But what that turned into is just us eating candy every time we passed it.
For a whole month.
For a full month.
Yep.
It's just
I think
not
my
good.
wife has already bought 2 or 3 bags of Halloween Reese's.
All right. So we heard from Joe. We got the gender reveal / pregnancy announcement costume as his worst bid. Josh, let me hear what yours is.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to start off by just saying that I'm not entirely opposed to a couple's costume. It's not the worst thing in the world that can happen, but I will say it all, to me, depends on the costume. A, how much effort goes into it. B, am I going to enjoy it? And C, is anybody going to get it, enjoy it, like it?
Now, Josh, I'm going to stop you because the topic is not sell me on couples costumes. I know there are probably some good ones that exist. I'm going to need you to tell me the worst.
I'm saying that I have done it and haven't entirely hated it. However, my experiences have not always been the best. But to me, the big things that come into mind in thinking through any Halloween costume, but especially this one, is A, if you're referencing a pop culture thing, how timely is your reference?
That's important.
Are you doing Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin like, 7 months after that was even popular? Or are you going with something a little more classic and timeless? That's one thing. Secondly, and something that I think a lot of people don't think through when they're putting together their costume is, okay, I'm going to walk in the door and everybody's going to go, oh, wow, that's so cool. But then you have to wear that for the entire evening you're at the party.
That's your life.
That's your life. That is your life for the next
For that night.
4 to 6 hours, however long you stay at the party. And not only that, you've got to probably take an Uber over to the party if you're a responsible adult. And how's that going to look when you get in there? I know it's Halloween,
Or
but they're
possibly
still
multiple
judging you.
Ubers.
Possibly multiple Ubers. The other thing is, especially when doing a couple's costume, can each person in the couple's costume stand on its own? Do you have to be together the whole night? Or is it going to be a situation where you get separated at the party and now people are like, what are you supposed to be? And you're like, oh, well, I got to find, my boyfriend. And
If my wife was here, you'd get it.
Yeah.
I will
that's
also
not
say
funny.
the separation point will also be valid for Joe, because if you just see a pastry chef, you're like, what? Or
Exactly.
If you
just see an oven with a bun in it.
that's true. If you just see a woman with a bun on her stomach.
Yeah. And so, and then the last thing, and I think this is important too, is that sometimes your costume comes with a gimmick that you have to do all night in order for it to, reach the peak of its importance. And so those are all things you have to think through when trying to find the worst one. So in looking back at my history of couples costume, there's one in particular that violated just about every single one of those rules. So me and the person I was dating went to a Halloween party, and that person, enjoyed the couple's costumes, and they thought it would be funny to do something that was punny. Now, if you know me, I don't like puns. I hate puns. My sense of humor is a lot different than that. Like, personally, if we were going to do a couple's costume, I'd be more inclined to do something where I go as myself and then they go as my will to live, so that if we get separated at the party, I can just be like, I lost my will to live. That's more my speed.
That's fair. But I think that costume would be hard to explain. But
it would make sense once I explained it. Now,
I think you just pitched the worst couple's costume, actually.
No, that's the best. Mind you, that is the best.
Yeah, what is the person who's your will to live going to say when they're by themselves? Ooh, well, what are you supposed to be? I'm a will to live.
I was having this conversation with Erica earlier today, and she thought that is very funny. So that means we are perfect for each other. I was going to say,
if she thought that was funny, you are meant to be. Do not let her go.
Exactly. So what I did instead was we went as a punny costume, and so we were French Kiss.
Uh-oh.
Now, what this costume entailed, of course, is full face makeup as members of Kiss, the band, dyeing my hair black. I have beautiful blonde locks, for those who have not seen them, and I had to dye those temporarily, air quotes, big air quotes, temporarily black. And then wear a beret and a sweater.
So the only French part was the beret?
Yes.
You didn't have like a long cigarette or a baguette? I did not. Or a croissant?
The sweater and the beret was the extent of it. So
French Kiss is pretty bad.
We didn't have to take an Uber to this party. So we drove instead, but it was about an hour outside of Lexington where we all live.
Well, it sounds like you set your night up for failure immediately.
Yeah, I did. And so we're driving, and it was not Halloween night, for one. It was about a week and a half before Halloween.
Oh, my gosh. So this is like October 22nd.
Yeah, so October 22nd, imagine you're on the interstate, you're minding your own business, and you look over, and there are two people dressed as members of Kiss driving into the middle of nowhere in Kentucky, where Kiss is not performing that evening. It's not a good look. Then we get to the party.
There's so much about this story that I wish I was there for.
Yeah, then we get to the party. We walk in, everybody's like, oh, that's so funny. That's good. Ha ha. It's not funny. It's not good. No ha ha. But.
So wait, it sounds like the costume played well.
For about 10 seconds. And then here's the thing is people just start taking their costumes off. They're like, oh, yeah, we all had fun. Now let's go sit around the fire. Well, I'm sitting there in full face paint, sweating because it is so hot. And I look like an idiot. I look like a jackass sitting around this fire in full Kiss makeup. And then the whole night, everybody's like, do the tongue thing. And I'd have to be like, ah, and stick my tongue out. And it was just bad. And so then drive an hour back home, which driving in the middle of the night through middle of nowhere, Kentucky in full Kiss makeup is also not a good look. Get home, wash my hair 5 times. It's still black.
Oh, man.
My hair was like several shades darker, but like basically dark brown, if not black, for like a day and a half.
How long did you date this girl afterwards?
A long time.
Oh, I was going to say, I feel like this was the beginning of the end.
No, I wish that were the case, but that was not the case.
That's unfortunate.
So with all that in mind, it really informed me on what would be my worst couple's costume. So I wanted to do something that was pop culture based, that people would think was funny, but actually isn't that interesting or funny. And so I went with a couple who's dressed as the Kool-Aid Man and a brick wall. Now, I chose this for a couple reasons. A, second you walk in together, great costume. It's like, oh, cool, Kool-Aid Man and a wall.
This only works if you walk in, jump, and then go, oh, yeah.
Exactly. So you do that. Everybody gets a good kick out of it. But now you're wearing this paper mache Kool-Aid Man costume around the rest of the evening, just bumping into shit, knocking people over. It gets progressively less funny as the night goes on. B, if you get separated, you're the Kool-Aid Man, but your girlfriend's a brick wall, and that is not a costume. That's like dressing up as a basketball goal for Halloween.
Yeah, a brick wall is definitely not a costume.
Third, you're going to have to do the gimmick, so you're just going to be trucking the shit out of your girlfriend the whole night, just like in the living room, running into her. She falls on her back, and you're like, oh, yeah, and everybody's like, oh, that's so funny. But it's not funny for her. That's a terrible thing to do.
It's also not funny after one.
Yeah.
Literally, the first time I would probably be like, there would be a chuckle, and probably it's going to be out of pity. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But you're not getting a laugh after 2.
Exactly. So it's not good. And then like, it's not timely. It's inconvenient. If you get separated, it's not good. And it's just like, no one, the Kool-Aid Man's played out. Like, people have been going as a Kool-Aid man since like the 80s.
I was going to say,
so why are you doing it now? Why are you doing it now? You're just lazy.
80s.
You're lazy. And that's all that there is to it. And so to me, it's just, it would, no one would remember it except for if you like really launched your significant other into like a wall or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, they would only remember it if there's some unfortunate circumstance attached to it.
Exactly. You got to wear this paper mache costume all night, and it's just not interesting. And that's my least favorite thing about any costume, not couples costume, any costume, is that you just did not try to be interesting.
All right.
And there it is.
Well, I think I've heard a pretty good amount. I might have some questions for you guys coming out of the moderator's office, but let's go take care of some business, and we'll come back and resolve this.
Fall is here, which means the holiday season is rapidly approaching. We've got great news for you, though, because Device Pit Stop is here to help you with all of your holiday shopping needs. They are sure to have something for everyone on your list, whether your kids are looking for an upgraded phone or your husband or wife was hoping for a new laptop or tablet to use around the house. Device Pit Stop will be able to assist you in getting the perfect gift for anyone on your list and at a great price while you're at it. Throughout the rest of the month, if you use the promo code TMIW, you will be able to get 10% off your entire purchase. So head on over to www.devicepitstopky.com, or if you are local, you can visit them in their Lexington location. Thanks again to Device Pit Stop for sponsoring us this month. Once again, head on over to their website, www.devicepitstopky.com, and use that promo code TMIW. It's never too early to get a jump on your Christmas shopping. Also, don't forget, they are more than happy to purchase your generally used electronics. So if you have an old phone or laptop or anything you're looking to get rid of, head on over and let them make you a great offer. Thanks again, Device Pit Stop.
We also want to take some time to thank everybody for sharing the show with their friends. It really helps us out more than anything else that we could do or that you could do for us. Just pick out your favorite episodes, send them like a funny bit, like anything that you enjoy about our show, send it to a friend and get them to check it out and give it a listen. We've seen a huge uptick in listens here lately, and it's all because you all are sharing the show with your friends and family, and we appreciate that a ton. We also have a couple things that we want to mention this week. One being that we are wanting to encourage you to help us out and nominate us for some awards with Discover Pods. You can go to awards.discoverpods.com, and there you can nominate us for best new podcast, best overall podcast, best comedy podcast. You can select your favorite episode of the show and nominate it for best podcast episode, whatever it may be. Feel free to head over there and help us out. Any kind of awareness on things like this really helps us out a ton. So check that out and do that. I also want to encourage you to go and review the show on Apple or any other podcast service that you can review our show on. If you go there, leave us a 5-star review. Tell people what you like about the show. That helps us out a lot. Here's a review that we recently received, and it's titled After Work Love. I'm a teacher who is currently teaching both in-person and virtual students simultaneously. To say I'm exhausted and stressed at the end of the day is an understatement. I can't wait to get in my car when I finally leave school to turn on Tell Me I'm Wrong. You guys always lift my spirits and take my mind off the daily stresses. My mother's a teacher. Teachers are awesome. They deserve everything and a lot more money and a lot more support. So that's my little soapbox. But beyond that, we're glad that we could bring a little bit of joy to that person when they get off work by talking about the dumbest shit on earth. So we're glad that they enjoy that and have been listening to the pod. And the last thing that I want to say is go vote. Early voting's open. So go do that and let your voice be heard. It's super important. So beyond that, we're going to let Ryan have his voice heard and let him pick a winner here after we get out of the moderator's office. So let's head back to the main office.
Okay, so far I am unconvinced that either of these are the worst couples costumes. So you're gonna have to do some real convincing here.
Okay,
I'm gonna start with Josh. Josh, your pitch was Kool-Aid Man and the Wall. Now, personally, I think a brick wall just sounds like a great costume. I mean, it's a conversation starter. You can graffiti. I mean, there's a lot of options there. But really, the best part of that costume is getting to run over your significant other repeatedly at a party.
Well, I don't know about that. That sounds a little aggressive.
Sounds a little intense.
But what I'm saying is, I feel like that gimmick is kind of fun, and it gives you a reason to.
One of two things here: either Ryan is mad at Leah, or two, Ryan's got a real weird thing that he's into that we didn't know about.
I think I've just found my thing. Is there something really that wrong with it?
Running over your significant other.
Yeah. No, Ryan wants to be the wall.
Yeah, I like the wall. I like. Yeah.
There's some guys that pay a lot of money for this.
Maybe.
All right, I guess you have a good point. No, that does sound actually pretty terrible. Is there any iteration of this costume that you feel like would be the worst? Because I feel like there's more than one option. Like, are we talking about typical red Kool-Aid man? I mean, what if we switch it? What if the woman is the Kool-Aid man and the man is the wall?
I mean, that's fine too. You can really do whatever you want. I think this costume's bad. I mean, the only thing that I think could be worse is if you went as like the Kool-Aid man and then like the spoon to stir the Kool-Aid man's insides with. Like, that seems like a pretty bad time too.
And you thought I was kinky.
But yeah, and honestly, like a worse gimmick. Like, if one of your friends has to pick you up and stick you inside your like significant other's costume and swirl you around, that doesn't sound like a good party gimmick. So I guess that could be worse. But the reason I think the wall one is worse is like, maybe it's funny the first time, but the like line between it being fun and dangerous is so thin.
So the main, so just so I make sure I get your point. The point that you are driving home is, one, the danger factor, and two, the repetition that's going to have to come with this gimmick is going to make it the worst.
Yeah, you're going to have to do the bit. You're going to have to scream, oh, yeah, it's going to hurt your throat. You're not going to be able to talk the next day.
Okay.
It's not going to be funny after the first 15 minutes, and you're going to have to wear the ding-dang thing all day. Like,
that's true.
It's just not
the ding-dang thing. The ding-dang thing.
All right, so if I'm being honest, it sounds like all of us just really don't like most couples' costumes, which I feel like is just a good thing to get behind. But Joe, I'm going to come back.
Remember what I said earlier, and y'all chastised me for saying no man wants to wear this.
Listen, he might be right. All right, Joe, we're going to come back to you. You've been off your soapbox for a while, so I'm going to scoot it back over, and I want you to give me your final plea for the pregnancy announcement costume. What is it that really makes it the worst?
I'm not off my soapbox. I'm ready to go. The problem with this costume is you wear that type of costume because you want people to ask you about it. Mm-hmm. So you're going to go into every conversation and like, you're going to stand in a way suggestively that stick your bun out, your bun in the oven. You're expecting people to always like, oh my God, are you pregnant? Well, no shit, you're pregnant. Your bun in the oven. How stupid. People may act like that this is funny or they like it, but they're lying to you. As soon as you walk away, they are making fun of you and laughing at you. 100%.
It's a night where everybody's seeking attention one way or another, for the most part. The people who aren't are just trying to blend in with a boring costume. But if you come with that, you're really trying to upstage everybody else who put all this effort into their costume for the night. Then now you're not the center of conversation if you have a cool costume.
Let me counter, because that's why I'm here. I
have one more point to add.
Give me your point, and then I'm going to counter.
How do most women dress up for Halloween nowadays anyways? I would say the majority. They dress up scantily clad, a little suave and debonair, more so than would maybe show a little bit more skin than usual. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But if I know last year you dressed up like that, and then this year you're pregnant.
Well okay, hold on. I feel like we need to pump the brakes a little bit. So here's my counter. So your main argument has been talking about how they're wanting to draw attention, and they're like wanting to be asked about it. Maybe the argument here is that this is a time when they can, have clothes, because most women don't enjoy the fact that they have to get larger while they're pregnant. So maybe this is a time when they can accentuate the fact that they're pregnant, and it's not weird. It's more funny, and they're trying to play on those things. So what is your it may not always be getting attention. Maybe they're just trying to use what they got, for better words.
I understand that argument, and I'm gonna tell you why it's wrong. The argument's wrong because there's a lot of costume ideas where they can use their larger belly that's has a baby in it as an extenuating something. They could do something like the sun, and there's planets revolving around it. They could do a basketball. They could do a lot of things to draw attention to their stomach, but they are drawing attention to the fact that they are pregnant.
Okay, so
not that they are bigger.
That's a good point, because I needed to clarify. So you are specifically talking about the costume is something that is only highlighting the fact that they are pregnant, not necessarily the fact that their stomach is large and they're using that as part of the costume. Okay. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yes. It's the same thing with these stupid gender reveal parties. They're out of control. Yes. I understand one thing of saying hey, I popped a balloon, but I saw one where a guy shot a clay pigeon and it exploded in blue and pink. I seen where a dude dunked. They set the state of California on fire for a stupid gender reveal party. Let me tell you something. No one cares. They don't want to go to those parties. Guys go to that party to drink beer and to see their buddies. They could care less about, because you know what? Who's going to tell them what the gender of that baby is? The girl they came with. My wife and I, as our gender reveal, we took a picture to announce we were pregnant. When it came time to say we were having a girl, we changed it. We held up a little shirt that said Wild Kentucky Child. When it came time to announce we were having a little girl, we made the shirt pink.
Boom.
That's
there
it.
You go.
We didn't say a word, because you know what? No one cares.
Well, and here's the other thing. Here's the more maybe less cynical point of view of that is both are great. It doesn't it's not the thing that really bothers me is the people that are out there that are cheering for one or the other. It's you're having a child.
And who's the party for? Who is the party truly for?
That's
Answer
a
that
great question. Who is that party for?
Because the baby's not around. Who's the Instagram video of? Who's it for? It's for mommy and daddy.
Now, I will say
that's a problem.
To Ryan's point about people cheering one way or the other, there is one gender reveal party I've been to that kind of had a nice little ending to it that I certainly enjoyed for the pure awkwardness of it. And so they did this little gimmick where they had two fish. One was pink, one was blue, and they had a fishing pole, and it had a magnet in the mouth of the whichever fish would for the baby they were having. And so they so desperately wanted a boy that they had their little fishing pole and they just put it over the boy one and it wouldn't catch. And so they just kept dipping it up and down, looking panicked, looking at each other, looking at their family. Then finally they went over to the girl one. It latched on, they picked it up, and nobody was super excited. There were just blank stares everywhere. And I have never been more pleased by something in my life. Then
Josh, your friend was wrong. I have a girl, and it's the best thing in the world. Do I want a son? Yes. I think every guy wants a son.
I'm sure they are very happy. However, at the time, Josh, who enjoys a good awkward moment, especially in public, really cherishes that memory, and I will hold on to that forever.
Once again, the gender reveal party is not about the baby. The costume's not about the baby. It's because you want someone to come up and ask you, "Oh my God, are you pregnant?" I want someone to wear the costume who's not pregnant and just be like, "No, I'm a very big bread fan." And just act mortified if someone asks you if you're pregnant. Like, "Oh my God, I put on 5 pounds. How ridiculous. This is all the store had left." Then I would like that costume. But it's not. This whole costume is about someone coming over and then gloating about you. And it's stupid.
I think this episode has had more of the angry dad Joe than we've had before. And you know,
I feel like this really brought out the worst in Joe and I. Just a lot of combative.
I'm here for it. I feel like we all needed this little. Yeah, I mean, if you want to call it a bitch fest, I don't know.
I feel better. I feel better.
I think we were all feeling a little bitchy at the beginning of this episode. And we got it out. So it is now my arduous task to try and decide between these two costumes.
This is one episode where no one truly wins.
Yeah, I think the tagline is going to really come in handy this week. So, Josh, you've presented me with, a wall and the Kool-Aid Man, and just the fact that you have to live in that costume for that night. You get separated, and all of a sudden you're just a wall. I think it's a good point. Joe has really railed against the whole gender reveal industry that I think now exists, and just the fact that none of this is really about the child. And, I feel like he was really dropping some wisdom there. It should really be, make it about the child. And so I appreciate that. But when it comes down to it, I have to choose between one of these two costumes. And the costume that I think is really the worst is the pregnancy announcement.
Oh,
yes. Yes. It truly is the worst.
The main reason was just really the way that he specifically outlined. It's not the women who are creative with their pregnant stomach during the Halloween times. It's the women who are just there to highlight the fact that they're having a baby. It's honestly, it's not creative. And if we're being really honest, Josh, I kind of think the Kool-Aid Man with the wall is a little bit funny because you didn't think about your audience. Once again, I love a good pun, and I love those kinds of things. Not saying I would ever do that costume, and I also actually think it's pretty terrible, but it was just not as terrible as the whole gender reveal.
You think my costume is good? I'm ashamed that I started a podcast with such uncultured swine. I didn't think it was good. I'm
going to be honest with you. I don't like costumes, period.
Well, I started the whole episode talking about how I don't like costumes.
Well, here's the thing.
Before Josh does this, I just want to say every single time Josh loses, Joe can back me up. Every single time Josh loses, he always has to explain, here's why
Guys,
I lost.
if you were just as cultured as I was, then I would win every week, but you're not. You're a bunch of uncultured swine.
That's a very good impression, Joe. Now, this is my, I won't say weekly because I don't lose that often, but every time I lose, this is my segment where I explain why I was right and why you were wrong. And so, Ryan, I think, unfortunately, like too many of us in this country these days, as we get into voting season, you are picking your winner based on anger and not on logic and fact.
That's exactly why.
And so you responded to Joe's pure hatred for the entire concept of a gender reveal, that you didn't sit back and hear my well-reasoned, well-thought-out explanation of why Kool-Aid Man on the Wall would be the worst.
Listen, debates are won on emotion.
This does remind me of someone in this season who's a good chance they're going to lose and then whines and complains about it and says that they didn't choose the right person.
And that's all we're going to say about that. All right. I think that's going to do it for this week. We had a little bit of a complainy, whiny episode, but hopefully y'all still made it through.
The people are going to get behind me.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I want to thank everybody for listening. We really appreciate the support. Before I thank our great theme song, I want to say, if you have the opportunity, go and check out the app Good Pods. I actually got to have a conversation with the creators, and they really have a heart for podcasts kind of like ours that may not get as much marketing budget or may not get into the iTunes top 10 or anything like that. But you can go on Good Pods and create an account. And when you start listening, your friends and anyone that you add on the app will be able to see the shows that you're listening to. So if you go on and you create an account and you have some friends and you're listening to our show, you are sharing our show just by listening. So please check out Good Pods. It's a really great way to help podcasts that you listen to get seen and get, the word of mouth is still the best way to spread. And this is really just a built-in way to do that. So check them out. And as always, want to thank Isle of 8 for the use of our theme song, Jean Jacket. You can check them out anywhere you find great music.
You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TMIWPod. Also, be sure to use that hashtag TMIWPod and send us your worst couples costumes. I know there's a lot more out there because they're all bad that we didn't get to. So let us know your idea, and then let us know if you also truly hate gender reveal parties like everyone else in the world except for people who are attention grabbing. Let us know. Let us know if there's any debates you would like us to do. We'll be more than happy to do that. And just once again, tell a friend. Listen on Good Pods. Tell a friend. That helps us more than anything else out there.
Yeah, and while you're at it on the social media, why don't you send us pictures of your worst couple's costume or your worst Halloween costume? Like I personally want to see it. I'm certain I can dig up some photos and maybe we can post me as a basketball goal or something. I will have to text my mother. But I'm certain we can find that. So if you've got any, send them our way because we would love to see them. Now, next thing I want to encourage you to do is go to tmiwpod.com. Over there, you can check out our website, find our social media pages, listen to episodes. You can also buy some merch, get a t-shirt, get a mug, get a mask. We got all sorts of stuff. Go buy it. We also want to remind you one more time to go and nominate us on the Discover Pods Awards for 2020. You can go to awards.discoverpods.com, nominate us for Best Overall Podcast, Best New Podcast, Best Comedy Podcast, Best True Crime Podcast. I mean, we touched on True Crime. I think it qualifies. Best Food Podcast.
I think education is in there too.
Education, as we said, we are an education podcast, so go nominate us for that. Whatever we qualify for in your mind, nominate us because we would really appreciate that and that would help us out a ton. And that's all I got this week.
We again want to say thank you to Device Pit Stop for their huge investment in this show. As always, and especially this week, there is one winner, but we're all losers. Later, losers.
Go vote.
Oh, yeah.